Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. This is our third conversation and one I'm very excited about. I think it's very fitting for the new year as well. We are joined by Ms. Charlotte Neal. She is the director of the Belize Institute for Service Excellence, Leadership and Research. No stranger to you guys. She's been on the couch several times before talking about a variety of different topics. But this morning we are honing in on intentional living for personal and professional success. I think that kind of sounds like the best of both worlds, if I could say so myself.
Most definitely. Thank you, Sabrina, for having me. Good morning, Belize, and Happy New Year. It's 2026. Have you crafted those visions as yet? We are the Belize Institute for Service Excellence, Leadership and Research, and our vision is for inspired people who are serving with passion and excellence. And our goal is throughout the year to keep that passion, fuel it, keep it burning. And the best place to start is January each year.
I love it. And you know, it's quite fitting because if you guys would remember, I started my vision board last month. I'm hoping I did it with some of you guys. And I know that on that list, one of the things I really wanted to focus on for 2026 is to be more intentional. I also had in there to live in my purpose, to inspire. And I know that there are some of you who might share that very same goal as well for 2026. But to live intentional, it sounds like such a broad term. And I imagine it's subjective as well, because what it means for me to be intentional might not necessarily be the same for you. How do you go about living intentional in the first place?
Absolutely. So it sounds like a big thing, but for each of us, I believe you tapped in, it's personal. Because what success for me might not be success for you. So what we did was break it down into 3 simple steps
I love that.
Anybody could
steps.
follow.
All right.
And we call it the VIP.
Okay.
That's it. VIP. The V for vision, the I for inspiration, and the P for plan.
Okay.
And anybody can follow those 3 steps, right? The first one, vision. You have to know, it's as simple as asking yourself, what you want? What you really want, right? Don't go into the how yet, but what I want. And one of the questions I ask people who feel stuck, I said, envision yourself, the same thing you're doing right now. You just continue to do that for the next 5 years, every single day. Now, fast forward 5 years, right? You're on that path, you're doing this. Where do you see yourself? Is it a picture that inspires you? Or is it you say, if I continue like this, I want broke, poor, hungry still. I'm going to be bored out of my mind. I'm not living my full potential. What do you see, right? If you don't make any change, if you change nothing at all for the next 3 to 5 years, what happens?
Do you find that a lot of people come to you and they're indeed in that position stuck and they don't know exactly what they want, but they know that where they are right now, they're not necessarily happy?
Exactly. So that's where you sit with people and try to help them to craft that vision.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that we believe in is everybody has something that they aspire to. There's something burning inside of you. There's things that maybe you discarded because, you know, work said, hey,
or
you know,
you
need to make some
dream.
money.
Maybe
or
that
you
dream is
tell
too big.
yourself it's too big. We don't believe there's any dream too big, though.
Okay.
We don't believe there's any dream too big. So dig deeper, and go back sometimes to your hobbies, things you like. I like what Steve Harvey said. Steve Harvey said, what do you do? What are you good at? Is it that you bake cake and people say, man, this cake just nice, like not nice and it's cake. Hey, you bake cake. How do people start with this crazy barbering? Like somebody said, man, when they start home, the cutlery bread are here. Go back to those little things. Sometimes we overcomplicate things and then we're like, oh, it's too big, or it's... What are those little things? For me, what I'm doing today is something I started from the time I was 4 or 5. I like talk. I write poem. Even when nobody tell me the poem sound good, I'm recording myself on those old-fashioned tape recorders.
Yeah.
Right? When you press the button and you have to pause and stop. And I recall, I said, but I used to do this. This is a passion for me. What stopped me, right? obligation, work, etc. But getting back to that passion has been the best thing ever.
I want to try to squeeze in as quickly as we can what your own personal story and your vision for your life look like that found yourself in this profession, because for a lot of us, as I mentioned, the dream just feels too big, guys. You know, I might have a dream that I'm too scared to even say out loud because I feel like other people might find it crazy.
Absolutely. As we look at that vision still at the V, for me, I always wanted to own my own business. I always wanted to do professional development training, inspire others. When I was in my teens, I was fixated on opera, the opera show.
Oh.
And I used to watch opera. I was like, I want to
like
be
Oprah
on
Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can do what she's doing. And I used to practice being Oprah. I remember many years ago when some Belizean woman who I think they discovered something, some the most wanted.
Yes, I remember that episode.
They were invited to go on Oprah.
I know what you're talking about.
I was like, that's my dream. Why are they sitting on Oprah's couch? I belong there. So there's that burning desire from very early that you might reflect on when you go back to it. And so for me, I always wanted to do it, but there are things in the way. Family, finances.
Sometimes the very job that you have
the
that you're too scared of,
that you
but it
have.
pays the bills, Miss Neal. So what do you do
the
then?
Bills, right? So for me, there's a concept I'm working on this year called From Good to Great.
Okay.
So you have a good job. You have a good job, right?
Yeah,
Sabrina?
I have a good job.
You have a good job.
A lot of us have good jobs.
Good. But the good, we say, is the enemy of great. Good is the enemy of great. Because I had a good job. I was the HR director. I was doing good things. But there was a part of me that wanted more. What is that greater for you? And so while I wanted this, I was stuck in the good. And then I got fired from my HR director job. And I went home, ate cookies, crumbled up in the fetal position and cried and picked up the newspaper, of course, to start looking for another job. And then it dawned on me, you don't need another job. You have talents, you have skills. Why don't you try and do your own thing? And the first question in my head is where the I comes in, the inspiration. What if you fail? My teenage son in high school at the time said, Ma, what if we can't pay our bills? What if we go broke?
What if?
What if, right? And so for me, I had no choice. I felt I had no choice. I didn't want to go work for somebody else. Because there are some organizations, and it's not every place you work, but some people just want you warm the bench full of seat. They don't want the changes. They don't want to embrace some of the things that you bring to the table. And for me, I'm like, do I just want to fill a seat?
Yeah.
And the answer was a resounding no. And so I started the Belize Institute. I registered the company, went full speed ahead, and the I, again, inspiration. What do we have to do, and what did I have to do? One, get rid of the distractions.
Yeah.
The distractions, right? And so what I've been doing and trying to get people to do when it comes to the I and the inspiration, we've instituted the 5 a.m. Belize Club, straight out of the 5 a.m. Club book. And I've been following and studying Robin Sharma. And he's awesome. And he talks about distraction.
Yeah.
And he talks about distraction being the enemy of creativity.
Could the I also have something to do with being self-motivated, staying, the course and being focused, surrounding yourself with people who have similar visions as well?
Exactly. That's a part of it, right? But one of the things that you will find before you even get to the outside sources is the inner source.
Yeah.
And you have to work on those distracting habits. You have to work on what you tell yourself. Because like you said, we tell ourselves, my last name is Neal. My last name is Daly. You know any people that, those are not the names. So then you create that name then. Yeah. What are you telling yourself, right? I use a simple analogy sometimes, like all of us trying to lose weight, being on a diet, right? And then intentional says, okay, I'm going to show up, I'm going to do the work, to go to the gym, but then I go to the bakery and I say I'm going to buy a pack of wheat bread, and then I end up with 2 nice, delicious cornbread or a patty. Yeah. That's not intentional.
So the I is for intentional,
the
not
I
inspire.
Is inspire, but a part of it is being intentional, right? When we look at inspire, you remove the distractions.
Yes.
Intentional says, hey, What am I telling myself? What are those things that I'm not doing that I know I'm supposed to do? Then the self-talk says, maybe you can't lose weight, Shirley. Maybe in your family, like, that just big bone people. Like, how you talk about lose weight and your big bone?
I've told myself that before.
Yeah, but then you realize it has little to do with the big bone in your family and more with the big bone where you put in your plate almost every day.
So at what point do we get to planning, the P in the VIP?
Absolutely. So after you've tried to remove all those distractions, you make yourself intentional, you surround yourself with people that will inspire you, books that will inspire you, then you move to the P, and the P is the plan, right? What's the plan? What's the plan?
I love a good plan.
I like that you said the vision board, and I believe in the vision board. We have a free vision board session coming up on the 15th, the holiday, so take the holiday and sit down to work out that vision. But I find that it can be broad if left alone. So when you've identified those things that you want, you have to then sit down and look at that plan. What's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? And make the plan as simple and measurable and easy to follow as possible.
Do you find that a lot of people get stuck at the vision board, the collage, and not follow through with the plan? So it's just kind of like this big frame that you'd have in your room, in your living room, on your wall.
Exactly. And that's why the plan is effective. Make it simple. Don't put big steps like this year, this is what I want to do. And then you make that plan for that.
Yeah.
And then again, back to the intentional. And you have to keep reminding yourself, this is where I am, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do. And like you have to be your biggest source of motivation, even though you're going to get that motivation from outside sources, that intrinsic motivation that goes back to your vision and said, no, this is the way I want, this is the way I want. And I want it more than anything else.
We opened the conversation by saying that we wanted to steer it along the lines of intentional living for personal and professional success. But there are some people who might say, you can't necessarily, you have to separate the two. You can't necessarily be happy working and also be, intentional living as well in your personal life, because for a lot of people, they just show up to work to have those bills paid. And then you can separate the other part. You can try to enjoy your life personally. Can we actually live intentionally in both areas?
Absolutely. In fact, intention from one area fuels intention in the other area.
Okay.
I find when I'm working on my personal goals, I show up to work happier, right? After I've gotten up at 5 a.m. and gone at the gym and bust a sweat and I never lose no pound, but I feel like, I kind of work, pump up, I'm motivated, I'm more inspired. Now, if I wake up, drink some coffee, eat 2 donuts, span away, and I kind of work, I was like, listen, by 9 I crash out. Like, why want to bother me? I don't have the same energy. So when you're working on your passion, that personal project that you have, there's inspiration from within. It doesn't die at the door when you come to work.
Yes.
So sometimes when we do even work with companies, we say don't just focus on the professional development of your staff that's related to what they do at work. Get those other little things in, right? Their personal development. Talk about that. Do sessions with them regarding that. And you will find that there is something that spins off, right? Yeah. Inspiration doesn't come on and off because you're at work now.
I'm so happy that we have you here on the couch, Ms. Neal, because I remember when I was closing off 2025, I was looking to what I wanted to see myself be in 2026, as many people do at the end of the year, reflecting. And I got a bit overwhelmed because there's so many things that I want to take on, and I didn't know necessarily how to begin it all in January.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what the approach should be. Should I look at it quarterly? Should I look at it half year versus half year? Is this the importance of having people like yourself to guide us through this?
Absolutely.
Because I was struggling.
It's called the power of one thing.
Okay.
You want to achieve so many things and you might end up achieving none. Pick the one thing that's going to move the needle forward for you. What is that one bigger of all those things? Pick one. Now, it's not that you're not going to do the others, but the one will become your focus, right?
Okay.
So Robin calls it the 90-91. And he says for 90 days, spend 90 minutes a day on that one thing. That one thing until you start seeing, hey, So It might not have to be every day, but you make sure it's 90 days, one thing, and you spend a considerable amount of time every day on that one thing, moving that needle forward.
And I should see my other goals fall in place?
You will spend time, but not as much time. This is the focus. This is the goal. This is the drive. And usually that's the, again, 80-20 rule. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that, like for me, my 80-20, my 1991 is my business, my bread and butter, my entrepreneurship. Those are the things that my 1991. I'm going to spend other times on health, family, you know, religion, etc. But my big thing that's moving the needle forward is that entrepreneurship drive, growing my business, right? So find that one thing, and it's not that you're ignoring the others, but in a line of priority, what's the biggest priority? All 5 can't be your priority.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get sidetracked, trying to figure out, hey, it gets messy. So find your one thing.
Well, the good news is we're only 1 week in January so far. We still have 3 weeks to go. We're still in the first month of the year. And for some people who might not have ironed out the details of what they want intentional living to look like for them, how can they reach out to you?
Definitely. So the best source for us is our Facebook page. It's the Belize Institute for Excellence on Facebook. And there you will find a lineup of our January offerings. The free vision boarding session on the 15th of January. Our 5 a.m. BZ Club, which starts at 5 a.m. on the Thursday, January the 20th, Tuesday, the 28th of January. Once a week we meet for that. And then we have a training session called From Good to Great.
Okay.
And it's for those people who are already working on those goals, you know, have an idea, but they want to move to that other level. Those are some of the things that we are able to offer you.
All right. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I'm sitting here and I'm pondering on what you were asking about with working a good job. I think I'm working a great job. I really enjoy what I do. But you know, as the name suggests, we're striving for greater.
Greater, exactly. So you've gone another level. So it's good,
we're striving for greater.
Greater. I like that.
This is such a pleasure talking to you, Ms. Charlotte. Always a pleasure.